Did you know that the way a champion is in-game doesn't always reflect how they are in the lore? Sometimes they even have a high win rate because their abilities are busted, or maybe they just deal a lot of damage. But when you compare that champion to how they are in the story, you realize they're nothing. One of the biggest examples of this is Nexus. Nexus is one of the great god warriors of Shurima. He contributed massively to the Empire, and he even helped defeat and seal away the Darken in the past. So Nexus's magic has the ability to create an aura that drains the life from enemies, making them age insanely fast to the point where they turn to dust in seconds. What wild is that his magic, according to the wiki, can make him immune to Amumu's curse. Amumu's curse works kinda similarly to Nexus's magic. It drains life from anything around it, causing it to rot. There's even a short story called Greed and Tears, where it shows that just from a handshake with Amumu, this guy named Kaldan's hand started drying up and shriveling, and the curse spread up his entire arm like a super fast infection. It's like what happened to Darius when he touched Trundle's club, but like way worse. Now, if you look at Nexus's biography, it says that he went through this terrible degenerative disease that left all his skin ruined and his bones fragile. And the crazy thing is that this disease was supposedly incurable. And even with all the insane resources of Shurima that Nexus had access to because of his rank, the healer only gave him like a week to live, and that was generous. He was so debilitated that he couldn't even walk to the Sun Disk to go through the Ascension trial. So I have to wonder, what if it was Amumu who somehow passed that disease to Nexus with his curse? And think about it. What if the curse ended up sticking with Nexus and transcending him through the Ascension ritual, but it doesn't affect him anymore because of the whole process gave him some kind of immunity? Honestly, that actually makes some sense. Or maybe Nexus's magic is similar to Amumu's, that it flat out doesn't have any effect. Either way, we've got two insanely powerful abilities here on characters who in-game are like total bottom tier. Amumu, who can basically insta-kill anything physical near him, especially if he goes full psycho and spreads his curse while losing it. And Nexus, who can be immune to this insane curse, and get this, he literally gets stronger off of spiritual energy. His passive is Soul Eater, which in-game lets him lifesteal. So what if you drop Nexus onto Shadow Isles or onto Ionia, places with crazy high concentration of spiritual magic? Even though it's different stuff, could the big dog just go absolutely crazy strong? I wouldn't doubt that Nexus would farm the specters of the Shadow Isles or the spirits of Ionia, since he can drain spiritual energy. I think that's totally possible. The only thing worse than that is someone who still hasn't subscribed to the channel or considered becoming a member to get access to some cool perks, like getting early access to videos and choosing a video topic. Seraphine. Despite Seraphine basically being just a pink-haired pop e-girl playing influencer and preaching peace, love, and unity between the people of Piltover and Zaun, and on top of that kind of being a lazy Sona 2.0, she actually has really insane and interesting abilities. That comes from her empathetic sound magic, which allows Seraphine to literally hear people's true emotions. And the acoustics of those emotions were so loud to her that she needed to use a special dampener made with hextech crystals just to handle it. In her original first version, Seraphine was able to hear the voice inside the hextech crystal in her dampener, discovering the existence of the Bracken race, who back then, before Skarner's rework, were giant crystalline scorpions from Shurima, and Clan Furrows from Piltover, which is Camille's clan, heavily exploited them, basically slaughtering the race for profit. Because yeah, Piltover is super capitalist, and its whole economy revolves around hextech. So yeah, she could hear the voice of the Bracken inside the hextech crystal in her dampener, and that ended up getting changed because, well, a lot of people started complaining and spreading even more hate toward the character, all because of that one line from her.
I miss your kind too, Skarner. Would you like to hear their song?
Then people started pushing the idea that Seraphine was a monster for saying something like that. And they started tweeting that the character was basically a genocidal psychopath. It turned into a full meme in the community, and Riot didn't like that, so they decided to rework her lore. But even though Riot nerfed her power, Seraphine is still pretty powerful with this empathetic acoustic ability of hers. So much so that she can hear the souls of Valmar and Kai inside of Varus's head.
You hear the voices in my head. Can you quiet them too?
Maybe I could, but I won't. You should let the voices inside you sing.
Sing? I can barely stand it when they talk.
I can hear nobility in you, Varus, however you try to hide it.
Perhaps you lack a musician's ear after all.
In my opinion, with that power, she could probably even hear Darkin inside their weapons. In that case, she would hear all the insane negative emotions of their spirits trapped in torment, and she could potentially see how they were sealed and even glimpse other flashbacks from their stories. If Nexus knew about this, they would absolutely try to exploit and refine Seraphine's ability, basically using her as a detector to locate Darkin weapons, because if she got close enough to one, she would hear the massive amount of negative emotion. And if you're wondering why she didn't hear that Darkin sealed inside of a harp in Zon, it's possible that she was already overloaded with all the voices of Zon's inhabitants, and she probably wasn't in range anyway, since that Darkin harp was found in some mining factory or cave in Zon. Either way, she does all this insanely cool stuff I just talked about with a super creative ability just to basically be Sona 2 in the game. What a disappointment. Xerath. This one's crazy. The magic Xerath uses is basically a mix of the dark magic he found through his research, combined with the power he stole from the Ascension ritual. So it's like this blend of different branches of magic all mashed together. Xerath ascended in a different way, because the ritual wasn't meant for him. It wasn't something he was supposed to be able to do. So the power that was meant for Azir hit him in a completely different way. And as Xerath's power grows, he'd be able to dominate most types of magic, but it would have a different effect than other users of the same magic once it gets filtered through his body, which is basically like a magical nuclear reactor, always right on the edge of hitting critical mass. So he's constantly having to hold himself back so he doesn't explode, which has gotta be exhausting. Also, Xerath is eternal, even though he can still be obliterated, since his energy can be dispersed so widely that it can never consolidate again. Either way, it's also said that Xerath is severely limited right now, even though he's learning how to overcome his vulnerabilities. And man, it's worth pointing out that Xerath has insane control over arcane magic, on top of basically being made out of it. Xerath's magical prowess got pushed to a level that's almost unmatched, and on top of that, Xerath can do power transfer. Like, he can channel his arcane magic into objects and people, creating magical batteries, basically granting power to his followers and raising arcane constructs. And I honestly think even the new Basai are being born like that, because in Cassante's biography, it's revealed that Xerath was infusing strength into Shuriman fauna through ascension rituals. But hold up, ever since Azir came back, it's revealed that the Sun Disk rose again in the ancient heart of Shurima, and Azir is the one in control there. So Xerath has so much arcane energy that he basically became his own version of a Sun Disk. With that, he can basically ascend whoever he wants, and that's literally what he does with his followers. Dude, that's not only nuclear reactors shaped like a frost-free fridge, he can also give insane buffs to his team, putting him at a huge advantage in the war against Azir for the control of Shurima. Meanwhile, in-game, he's the least creative thing ever. In the lore, the guy can do a billion different kinds of magic, but nah, let's make him throw the blue stuff forward. Zoe. Zoe's W is called Spell Thief. When she first came out, that ability caused a lot of noise because it was something totally new, and let's be honest, kind of busted. But trust me, if her kit actually followed the lore, Zoe's skills would be way more insane. In the short story Twilight of the Gods, the Panther God Warrior Tanari faces another God Warrior named Zuyan, and he knew he couldn't beat him, not even back in his prime before he became a crippled Ascended. Zuyan was like this massive turtle covered in spikes on his shell, and he wielded a gigantic axe. According to the story, when he charged, it was like an avalanche, a thunderous and unstoppable force, as deadly as it was inevitable. In other words, think Scion's ult, but 100 times stronger and more lethal. Because according to Tanari, that charge had already split entire legions in half, knocked down giants, and reduced fortress gates to rubble. So Tanari resorts to one of the spells Maisha, the former aspect of Twilight, and remember Zoe is the current aspect of Twilight, had taught him during the time they lived together. Listen to this part of the short story. Tanari knelt and placed his hands on the glass floor of the amphitheater. He felt currents of magic running through the structure, golden lines of energy connecting him to every living being around him. Mortals were like small sparks escaping from the fire, fleeting and insignificant, but the god warriors were like young sons of active magic. He absorbed their power, just as Maisha had taught him. He pulled a fragment of the cursed foresight of Shabaka and Shabake, feeling their strange senses twist inside him. The lizard speed of the Symphax spread through his ancient body. The rage of Zignatus and the righteous sense of purpose of Anakai. Tighnari closed his eye, now knowing exactly where Zuon's attack would land. Basically, Maisha taught him how to activate Ultra Instinct. So imagine what she herself is capable of. Just from Zoe's voice lines and her lore, you can already tell that she has ridiculous power, like Destro Runeterra level power.
You won't pay attention to me, I'll blow up your world. Probably not, but I might.
We should honestly be grateful that in-game, the only thing she does is put people to sleep and steal spells. Imagine if she could use that ability and just go fully untouchable, dodging every single attack. And that's not even counting all the other stuff she does. Lore Zoe makes an in-game Lulu look like a joke. That's actually a good way to explain it. Think about what Lulu does in-game, now give it a cosmic universe level theme and multiply the power level by 5 quadrillion. That's Zoe in the lore. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll see you guys in the next video.